Thank you, Minister. I welcome the opportunity to make a contribution on this bill. As a member of the Committee on Environment and Climate Action, Minister, I must mention that waiving of pre-legislative scrutiny has become quite common, particularly in relation to this. I do, of course, fully understand and appreciate the rationale that the Minister has set out, and indeed I do appreciate the briefing that we received from your officials in the making of that decision. But nonetheless, I do feel it necessary to note it. It would be my preference that we wouldn't have to deal with emergency legislation, but I do understand the circumstances in which you and the department find yourself. I think that this bill gives an opportunity to address the deficiencies in the framework that allows for our grid development and ensure that we are capable of literally keeping the lights on. Because, of course, proper planning and sustainable development of our grid, without proper planning and sustainable development of our grid, it'll hinder our ability to cater for the level of renewable energy inputs that will shortly join our grid up and down the country and indeed offshore, because clean energy will of course define the coming decades in this country. It'll be consequential in our efforts that would deliver jobs, innovation and play a pivotal role in the decarbonisation of our society. A coherent and ambitious process that has already begun must be enhanced in the years ahead and will allow for our country not only to provide clean, affordable energy at home, but also to potentially become an energy exporter, bringing inward wealth to our country that to date has been a distant concept. The debate taking place within many homes across the country right now is, of course, that they are receiving huge energy bills. And while these prices have been driven by many external factors, it does not mean that we cannot take action at home to ease the financial burden on families and individuals. And throughout this time, energy companies have made huge profits and well beyond what they would normally expect. I do welcome the work that I understand is underway in introducing a windfall tax on such companies, and I hope the result is more assistance to people and businesses up and down the country in the context of paying their energy bills. It would be remiss of me not to use the opportunity to mention wholesale gas prices, which rose sharply over the last year. A significant amount of this increase has been passed on to customers in both the private and public sector, in the residential and business sector. However, we are now seeing those wholesale prices starting to fall, but we are not seeing the same rate of reduction drop for the bills that are arriving in customers' homes and businesses. I'm therefore encouraged by recent comments made by the Taoiseach and others in regard to ensuring that this reduction is passed on to customers by energy providers, notwithstanding the very limited reduction delivered by two suppliers in the last week. Over recent months, the government had introduced important protections and supports, including a series of energy credits provided to each household, accompanying with a wide range of increases in supports that has provided for under Budget 2023 and other measures. The rise in energy prices is part of a much wider cost of living, which must send a message to people that the businesses and the government will step in and use some of the hyper profits amassed by state-owned energy companies in particular, in turn use that revenue to help people manage the rising cost of living. Interrelated, I am encouraged that wind energy has had its best January on record in January 2023, and this result must be built upon in the time ahead. Developing the wind energy sector in Ireland offers a significant opportunity, but must be supported by government if we are to realise its potential. And I noted Deputy Batchik, her comments in relation to the slowness of the offshore wind energy development. And while I absolutely agree it is slower than we would like to see achieved, the committee, of which there are at least three members present, two of whom attended a wind farm off the coast of Scotland recently. That particular wind farm took 14 years to deliver. And I know that the same company who are now in the midst of a joint venture with Bord na Móna are talking about being able to deliver such a project in less than 7. So I do think that there are great things that we have learned from other jurisdictions, and our ability to deliver upon our own ambition, of course, will be tested in the coming years. But there are measures that we are taking, both as a government and as a committee, to make that process happen all the faster. Minister, I would also like to mention that there's been significant work done on developing a national hydrogen strategy, but we have yet to see the publication of this. Hydrogen is of course crucial to solving several of the storage barriers that the renewable energy sector faces. It's therefore imperative that government publish this strategy, which many other jurisdictions have already in place. When published, it will provide a much more clarity to businesses and the wider government as to how to harness this power and plan for the future. We must employ all options in the effort to deliver clean energy that meets demand in both public and private realms. A review of direct line or private wires, that is often called, is committed to under the programme of government, and I would like to see such progress being made on that as well. These routes of supply are currently unavailable on a wider basis due to the Electricity Regulation Act of 1999. We need to deliver a clear plan on this aspect of energy supply, which can play a positive role in meeting demand and unlocking the potential of some local areas. In the few moments I have remaining at Count Corla, I would also like to add that many in this House, I'm sure, look forward to the launch of the small-scale energy generation scheme, which I understand will be delivered later this year, providing an important bridge between the micro-generation and large-scale projects taking place within the state. The electrification of our public transport system, Minister, requires reliable and sustainable energy supply, and increasingly more important as we aim to increase the number of passengers on our public network. And I know that has been subject to discussion just today, but I do believe that the generation of renewable electricity in Ireland can provide for a sustainable future for our country. However, we have little time to lose. I hope that, that in time we can, as a society, look back at recent years' development in the future to recognise that we are laying the groundwork for a brighter, cleaner and healthier future. Thank you.